Shove it, man!
Alright, Shove It Squad, welcome back to the Idiot series. I know it has been a long time, bricks to the jaw, blah blah blah. I'm back, that's the main thing. So we're going to watch some wrestling from current times, which is a bit different for me. I get a bit bored while I'm editing videos. It'd be nice to have some wrestling to actually watch on the side and not being having to class it as work whilst I'm doing it. Just enjoy it like the olden days. I haven't watched WWE or AEW for at least 2 years, whenever the last time I did this series, and it's been a while, so I have no idea what's going on. One of the main complaints that I got last time when I made this series is that I should have researched the shows before I viewed them. I didn't really agree with that because you don't go to the cinema and research the film you're watching. You don't get a book and research the book you're watching. You don't watch a TV show and research the TV show you're watching. No. What you do, however, is read a description of what the show has to offer. So I'm going to do that for you, right now. Starting with AEW, this is from their YouTube page. And I quote, who remembers that one? Founded by CEO, GM and head of creative Tony Khan in 2019, AEW is offering an alternative to mainstream wrestling with a roster of real-class talent that is injecting new spirit, freshness and energy into the industry. And for WWE, it's an American professional wrestling promotion owned by and operated by TKO Holdings, a majority-owned subsidiary of Endeavor Group Holdings, a global integrated media and entertainment company. WWE has also branched out into fields outside of wrestling, including film, football and various other business ventures. So there we go. Now I know everything that I need to know. That is officially as much research as I would do when I would go to watch a film or start a TV series. So if you don't like it, shove it. Starting with Monday Night Raw, it's a show that I've heard is excellent nowadays. Gunther has been the world champion for a long time and he's the first man out. Wow, this arena looks so dark and tiny. What the hell happened here? He starts cutting a promo about his upcoming match against Finn Balor before he's cut off by that very man and the Judgment Day group. The Hawk would personally not be intimidated by any of these four men. They look more like the Three Friends and Jerry. He says he's going to win the big one. Gunther doesn't respect how Finn Balor has been cutting corners and calls them a group of weirdos. Gunther's surprisingly likeable here. He's well spoken and feels like a big deal. It's actually the first time I've heard him talk for an extended amount of time. The Judgment Day eventually have enough of the smack talking and go to fight him, but they're interrupted by Damian Priest. By the look of it, he's no longer a part of this Judgment Day group. No idea how they fell out though, but he seems to be really hating on them. The two big boys beat up Finn Balor until Gunther attacks Damian Priest. Gunther clears the announce table in the most dramatic way possible, but can't send Priest through it. The Judgment Day return and attack Priest. Finn Balor is a proper little rascal in this show. He's giving out double stomps like the Hawk's giving out punches to the gut, but except the Hawk's iron wings could give more of a smack to the kidneys than Finn Balor ever could. So perhaps setting up a 4-on-2 handicap would make sense now. No, that doesn't happen. Decent opening segment, it wasn't boring. Karrion Kross has a faction too called the Final Testament. I'm not sure what any of these random characters have in common. The Raw General Manager Boldhead tells the Judgment Day, as a punishment for their action, Damian Priest will be added to the world title match. He also forces him and his little friend to defend the tag titles next week. Raquel Rodriguez looks bored. Here comes the Final Testament. Wait, that's Scarlett Bordeaux? Turn her back blonde immediately. They are facing Wyatt Six. Quite the entrance. It feels like I'm an art theatre. I can only see 5 of them. I'm not sure who the 6th is. Maybe it's a ghost. Samuel Shaw is now a homeless hippie. Good for him. Good for him. Why are there so many factions on this show? We've watched half an hour and I've already seen 3. I'm glad to see they found something for Joe Gacy to do. Eric Rowan seems like he has some potential and the crowd are loving his work. Good variety of moves in this match too. Does anybody else think that Karrion Kross suits being bold better? Nikki Cross and Scarlett get into it too. Hey Nikki, Sue Young called me and asked for a gimmick back. Paul Ellering randomly throws powder in the eyes of Uncle Howdy and Killer Kross wins with an F5. Fun match, but aren't Wyatt Six supposed to be quite a new group? I might be wrong, but why are they losing so quickly and easily? CM Punk has an interview. He's confused why Seth Rollins hates him. Something about Punk refused to train him for free when he was a kid. I don't blame him. Nothing in life comes for free. Dakota Kai has a match against Liv Morgan, the women's champion. I had no idea at the time, but little did I know, I was going to get my fill of women's wrestling on this show. Sonya Deville and her cronies watch the match. A beast in the front row proudly holds up a sign saying that she would leave her husband for Sonya. That poor fuck. He's only gone and turned a lesbian, right? Jesus Christ. They have a highly competitive match, but the geeks on the outside keep ruining it. Liv wins. There's a big fight after the match. Io Sky is one of the fighters. You know, I've seen some posts lately saying that Io Sky is the greatest women's wrestler of all time. What do you guys think? I haven't seen enough of her to judge, but from what I've seen, her in-ring work stuff probably looks the best I've seen of all time, but does she bring anything else to the table? Drew McDonald cuts a promo about hating CM Punk and the Bloodline. He is a miserable looking individual. The comedy team also look miserable. I haven't mentioned them yet, but I've quite enjoyed their work. Even if Wade Barrett was a jerk when he was in the core, and your girl's a whore. I think they're trying to encourage signs coming back. Excellent idea. The Hawk is fully on board with this. I fully endorse this suggestion to get signs back in the arena. Adds more character, it's just fun. It gets people excited to go and show off their little signs to voice their opinion. But, are WWE still going to take the signs away? Because that kind of puts a punch in the gut. A peculiar looking man, Seth Rollins, makes his way out. He doesn't like CM Punk. Seth Rollins apparently kept checking on Punk when he left WWE. He points out that Punk spent years trying to take the WWE down. This gets a loud CM Punk chant from the blind sheep around the ringside. Sami Zayn wants to be his friend, and they agree to stay out of each other's way. Sami will face Drew on Saturday night's main event. Yay! More wrestling shows! What more could you want? Drew jumps him, so I guess he's up for it. Zelina Vega versus Ivy Nile versus Lyra Valkyria, who drops a fart and desperately waves away the smell. What is she, Taya Valkyrie's daughter? Ugh, it's a match which happened. Zelina is so weak looking in the ring, and I've watched her for years, it's never changed. Lyra definitely seems to have a bit about her. Vega has the audacity to steal Jeff Hardy's Swanton Bomb.
Dude, I was watching WWE Raw the other day, man. And this chick, Zelina Vega, she stole my Swanton Bomb finishing maneuver, man. But it didn't finish. Man, I'm going back to North Carolina, and I'm going to tell my stoner friend Shannon all about you, Zelina Vega, man.
Anyway, it's all good. Pretty high-flying stuff. Lyra wins. She desperately reaches out of the new Women's IC title, but she isn't allowed it yet because this was only the first round in a tournament for that belt. Double K and Xavier are out now. They're heels because they kicked Big E out the New Day because he's too badly injured to wrestle anymore. The New Day steal the camera and they take it to the ring. They're upset about the biased reporting on this show. This heel turn seems to be effective. The crowd is all over them like a bad shirt. You can see why they hate this crowd. They did give everything to this crowd for 10 years, and one thing makes them hate them. Loyalty ain't worth bird turd. They've got the most heel heat I've heard in a while. Xavier Woods can't even start a sentence. The New Day eventually give up without being able to say anything, and they tried for a while. Good stuff. The main event is yet another women's match. That's overkill right there. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. It's an anything goes match. I would personally rather see them having a bench pressing contest. That would be so much more entertaining because these are meant to be the two strongest women in this company. So let's let them do that and settle their differences that way. It'd be far more interesting than having them wrestle again. And come on, we miss spectacles like this. It was great when they did this in the past. Plus, variety is the spice of life, like punch to the gut. Anyway, these two don't seem to like each other very much. They've been feuding for a while. Rhea Ripley hits a cane shot on a missile dropkick. Rodriguez responds with a sack of shit on the announce table. She also hits an alley-oop in the turnbuckles. Liv Morgan distracts Ripley and that allows Rodriguez to slam Ripley into the steel chairs. Liv Morgan also hits her finisher to Ripley before Sky gets rid of her. Anyway, it ends when Rodriguez crashes into a steel chair and Ripley puts her through the table with a pump handle slam. Decent, but needed more time. I think that Rodriguez looks a bit weak here considering how strong she is. Maybe she should have stuck to deadlifting, it might have been a closer match. Whatever, that was Raw. 18 minutes? We only got 18 minutes of wrestling? You lot are either high or you're nuts. How could you say that was a great show? I don't understand. I really tried my best to get into this, but there was just nothing here. You'd have more fun going up the lake and going duck hunting with your mum. You'd have more fun going on a first date with your girlfriend's gran. I swear to God this show sucks on Ishiaki's ass. I just can't comprehend it. I really wanted to give it a go. I was willing to be as positive as possible and you gave me nothing. Zero to work with, zilch. Must see. I'll show you something that's must see. I just lit a dump in the toilet. I mean, the shows are a bit shorter nowadays, so maybe that explains it, but 18 minutes? Wow, okay. It wasn't must watch. I am sorry, and I know people are going to go straight to the comments and tell me I just tuned into a bad episode of Raw. Fine, I probably did. But that's not how this idiot series works. I just choose 2 episodes at random and I watch them. If I was really trying to set stuff up, don't you think I'd pick an episode of AEW where Slapnuts was on it? No. I'm just picking the 2 most recent episodes that I can get access to. So ultimately, it felt like there weren't many stars on this show, unfortunately. I don't know if they're all over on SmackDown. But I do not know who the main contenders are on this episode of Raw. What? Finn Balor? Come on, he's had so many chances and he's not believable. And that double stomp thing, it doesn't even look that impressive. Why is he doing it so much? Fair play Gunther and Drew McIntyre, I understand why they're in the main event, but it doesn't seem like there's that many other options in this scene. Are people injured? Am I missing something? I was told this was must-watch telly now. Why was it must-watch? What was must-watch about it? I'll tell you what's must-watch. I'll go into your girl's house, sit down, grab a Disaronno and ice, and then give your girl a slice. Alright, part 2, idiot jab to the jaw. We've got to check out the competition. When it comes to AEW, the Hawk has heard nothing but bad stuff. It's become fashionable to hate on this show. So the Hawk has no choice to hate on it. No, I'm kidding you. I'm going to watch Dynamite. I'm going to find out for myself. No bias here. I would actually prefer the Underdog has a better show. But if it's bad, I'm going to say it's bad. I'm sorry. We start with highlights from a tournament. A table flashes up on the screen. What the hell am I even looking at here? It looks like a game of noughts and crosses. It's some sort of league table that they're doing. This would be the Football League, and WWE is the Premiership. The first face we see that runs the place is Shelton Benjamin, accompanied by MVP and Bobby Lashley. These 3 friends have been hanging around together for years. He's taken on a man called Kyle Fletcher, and I can't say that I've ever heard of him before. The Brodo Star is his nickname. Did they just bill this man at £250? Kyle quickly blasts him with his ass, but he's polite enough to air out the smell.
Oh, crikey. Sorry, Shelton, mate. Let me throw that one on the Barbie.
Kyle is on a winning streak of over 30 matches. It's a very slow start with this match, with the crowd enjoying winding up the Aussie man. This was a rather difficult introduction to AEW for me, as they proceed to have a long match low on action. This crowd seems to be enjoying it anyway. Look at those scratches on my man's back. He's clearly getting more satisfaction than the Hawk is from watching this show. The match does improve anyway, as it goes along with some big moves. Kyle Fletcher looks like Crash Holly ate a beehive. I actually like that wrestlers are banned from ringside in these tournament matches. Anyway, Kyle Fletcher holds the ropes on a roll-up and gets the win. Shelton Benjamin in AEW feels exactly the same as him in WWE. This was probably not the ideal match to open a show for me, because much of it was low on action. It was just a random tournament match. And now we get highlights of another random tournament match. The next man out is a young man called Hook. He's one of Taz's many sons. I can't even hear his music, it sounds so muffled. Hook's gonna cut a promo on someone called Nick Wayne, who I vaguely remember debuting when I last watched this. It sounds like they beat Taz up, and now Hook is looking for revenge. One of the attackers of Taz was Christian Cage, who makes his way out. But it's a trap, and a group of men attack Hook. The woman here towers over everybody involved. Christian and his guys do a concerto to Hook's wrist. They are the Christian Coalition or something. The camera quickly cuts away. Not a well done injury angle, because nobody is going to remember any of this, as it didn't feel important. The ever-popular Sasha Banks is out now. She's called Mercedes Moné. She said something about her former friend Camille. I haven't seen much about recent AEW, but I have seen that the fans see this woman as a waste of money. The Hawk never rated her. I could have told you this 5 years ago. Somehow, that's half an hour of the show done. It felt like nothing has happened. MVP screams in Shelton Benjamin's face. He sounds like a disappointed father who's about to belt his son. Shelton is a bad loser and he attacks a production guy just as my footage cuts out and goes all weird. I'm not sure if this was production problems or it was just my end, because it would kind of make sense that the production stuff would go down because he was attacking production guys, but at the same time, it didn't look deliberate. Now it's a battle royal where only Adam Cole gets an entrance. The final 2 are going to have a match next week, which will lead to another match for a diamond ring. There's a strange masked fat man in this who looks like he's trying to be Mankind. Other than them kind, all of these guys look like they need a gimmick. No one really stands out. The crowd want another man called Davis to win, so he's quickly eliminated. There's 2 other big men in this one, and they're a tag team. It's Brian Cage and Lance Archer. It comes down to them in the final 4, 2 big men and 2 tiny men. And because it's 2024, of course, the 2 small men eliminate the 2 big men. Give the Hawk a break. That's just ridiculous. I know that Adam Cole is viewed as one of the biggest stars on this show, but this other guy, Kyle O'Reilly, he looks like the same person as the one in the first match. And I know you're doing it for storyline reasons because Cole and O'Reilly are friends, but you're not going to entice new fans doing stuff like this. From what I know about your show, you have been doing the same damn thing for 5 years now, pushing the same people doing the same things, and it has not worked for you. Do you know what the definition of insanity is? doing things time and time again exactly the same and expecting something to change. It's not going to. These poor fuckers have been on your roster forever. These big dudes who came in probably for the money but expected some sort of push and some better usage. And they've had nothing. They might as well have not exist. What are you scared of, AEW? Give these guys a try. I'm not saying it definitely has to be Brian Cage and Lance Archer, but someone out there has to be better than what you're getting. You cannot keep doing the same things. It's basic stuff, AEW. If I kept hitting myself in the head with a brick time and time again and didn't expect brain damage, I'd be pretty stupid, wouldn't I? Well, I am the idiot after all. But what does that make you, AEW? Billy Gunn delivers a lecture to the Acclaimed. He tells one of them that they're best wrestler alive today. Terrible acting. Here comes Swerve Strickland. He looks miserable, but his manager, Prince Nana, brings the energy. Nana looks like he's been watching the Sparky Plug. Swerve has packed on muscle since I last saw him. He takes on Max Caster, who raps his way to the ring. Swerve doesn't seem to be a fan of it. This one's being built up like Max Caster as a comedy jobber, and Swerve is going to bulldoze through him quickly in a squash match. And that's what happens pretty much. Swerve completely no-sells a springboard dropkick and kicks Caster's head off and wins. Nothing wrong with that segment. We had some entertainment and it went down the way it was supposed to. Swerve was booked like a main eventer here. Nana shows how important having a manager can still be in wrestling. He really got the crowd going. Time seems to be flying. We're an hour into the show now. MJF has somehow aged despite his hair transplant. That's what too much roids can do to you kiddies, be careful. His voice has got so much deeper too. He talks about when he last feuded with Adam Cole because everyone in the company was happy back then because AEW was doing well, but now it's not. Conveniently, that's when I last watched the show, so it helps the Hawk understand what he's talking about. I love MJF, but it does feel like the shine has possibly come off a bit, and I'm not sure what can be done about that. Adam Cole's injury last year came at a horrible time and derailed their story. I swear to God, MJF, you better get yourself together because you are failing now. Jesus Christ, they were talking about you going to WWE not that long ago. Now what's happened? Your value has plummeted, just like my piss. Jay White and Pac have a match. I think there was a height requirement for this episode of Dynamite, like a teacup ride at Peppa Pig World. Not really a fan of any of these people. Jay White wins and we move on. Jon Moxley attacks Jay White, and it was at this point that I learned that Moxley was the world champion of this company. Mox is another guy who's perhaps put on 30 pounds of muscle. He's stomping and dragging his ass around ringside when Adam Page stares him down. A fake cameraman attacks Moxley and it turns out that it's Orange Cassidy. He looks like he's eaten Jake Hager. This was a return after a while gone for Orange Cassidy, and it was treated pretty well. But just look at these people, nobody stands out. Someone who does stand out is the following girl. It looks like the crack hit her hard. Or maybe she's always been this way. Who knows, because I have no idea who she is. There was nothing to announce who she was, and she didn't say her name either. And the commentary team don't even mention this promo afterwards, so God knows what this was about. It's a decent promo where she hypes an International Women's Cup. I can't wait to see what's-her-name win the Women's Cup. Chris Jericho is the ROH World Champion, hyping up some shows at the Hammerstein Ballroom. He looks like he's being held at gunpoint. Nice little hype package for a man called Bandito. I like Wild West things, so I appreciated this hype package. Oh, thank God there are some women on this show. It's Anna Jay who makes the boys spray, taking on Penelope Ford. This match has a hype package where it goes through their heated history, although their history only seems to be wrestling and no story. No one was sleeping with nobody shaved a head, nobody stole the other one's dime bag, so this must be about who is better in the ring. A story as old as time. Well, you know what, it's getting old. Anna Jay is hot. I'd like to take my beak and shut. The other girl is coming back from a bad injury, and they do look a bit rusty in the early going. I remember Anna Jay from the last time now. She was the one who does the Queef Slayer. Anna Jay wins with a Widow's Peak. That's a shame, I wanted it to be the Queef Slayer. The right person won, and she will call out Mercedes Moné now. Well, at least she stands out on this show. Guess she's putting all that AEW money to good use. She does not think that Anna Jay is worthy of a title shot. Mercedes runs away with her belt collection. Then some imaginary person sets up a match straight after between the two for 2 weeks' time. That was strange. She asked for a title shot, Mercedes said no, and then it's just announced that they are going to have a match. Is there like an on-screen management figure in AEW? I'm not sure if I've seen one. It's an interview now with Maria May. She's hot until she opens her mouth. She criticises someone for showing their tits, despite being dressed like that. She says women's wrestling is dead. A lady walks up, who's somehow smaller than her, sat down. She hands a bottle of champagne to her, so everyone's having a good time. Maria seems like a good character, at least. Or is it Mariah? Who cares, because the Hawk is on fire. The main event is Brody King versus Claudio in another tournament match. This one's a bit better, just two giant meatballs smashing into each other and trying their hardest to kill each other. Claudio wins with a kick to the nutsack and a neutralizer. He is now in the lead for this wacky tournament. And that's Dynamite. But AEW, you cannot keep doing these lame-ass tournaments. Every time I watch, it's a tournament. No storylines, it's just the laziest booking attempt ever. You could just go write on a piece of paper, draw up some random names, put them in matches, and bang. That's how the AEW show is made by Tony Khan. It's not rocket science, is it? I mean, anyone could be a booker nowadays. Even a blind man who can't find his ways. AEW, you have the greatest shot in the world to overtake WWE, and you're blowing it. Come on, pull yourselves together, pull your fingers out your ass, stop jerking off and get on with it. Let the Hawk know who had the better show and which one was blow. I really want to get back into wrestling. I honestly think the biggest issue in wrestling is that there's just too much content. AEW was most popular when it was just one show. WWE was better when it was two shows. But you know, with the way things are in this world, how long before we get roster cuts? Nobody wants anybody to lose their job, but as a viewer, it makes for a better experience. And if you don't agree with that, here's a brick wall to discuss your grievance.